Seiring perkembangan dunia bisnis yang pesat, timbullah berbagai tantangan baru yang dinamis. Karena itu, meningkatkan pengetahuan dan keterampilan serta kreativitas berinovasi adalah kunci agar dapat bersaing di era digital.
Untuk itulah, sebagai kampus terakreditasi unggul, Universitas Ciputra memberikan peluang emas bagi Anda para entrepreneur, profesional, karyawan, maupun lulusan SMA, SMK yang sudah bekerja dengan menghadirkan Universitas Ciputra Online atau UC Online. Program perkuliahan online bergelar di UC Online, didesain secara efektif untuk mengembangkan karir dan bisnis Anda. Dengan perpaduan mata kuliah keilmuan dan entrepreneurial mindset, Anda akan dibimbing secara intensif oleh dosen dan praktisi berpengalaman untuk menerapkan strategi yang inovatif dan relevan dengan industri Anda.
UC Online menghadirkan 3 program perkuliahan online bergelar, yaitu S1 Manajemen, S1 Informatika, dan S2 Manajemen. Seluruh program dirancang dengan struktur kurikulum berstandar nasional dengan masa studi 8 semester untuk program S1 dan 4 semester untuk program S2. UC Online juga menghadirkan program Corporate Class, yaitu program perkuliahan yang dirancang secara khusus untuk sebuah instansi atau perusahaan, di mana instansi atau perusahaan dapat mengirimkan karyawan pilihannya untuk mengikuti studi lanjut, serta mendapatkan materi perkuliahan yang disusun secara spesifik sesuai dengan studi kasus yang dihadapi. Program ini diharapkan dapat meningkatkan produktivitas dan kinerja instansi dan perusahaannya.
Sekaranglah waktunya. Bergabunglah di UC Online. Raihlah masa depan yang sukses dengan keahlian dan ilmu pengetahuan. Creating world-class professionals and entrepreneurs.
Saat ini dunia bisnis bergerak sangat cepat. Kita harus terus memperluas ilmu pengetahuan, skill, dan networking. Oleh karena itu, UC Online menghadirkan program kuliah online S1 Manajemen yang menjadi solusi untuk Anda, para profesional dan entrepreneur. Dengan fleksibilitas jadwal perkuliahan yang dapat diakses kapanpun dimanapun, Anda akan dimentori oleh dosen dan pakar di bidang pemasaran, operasional, keuangan, dan bisnis digital. Program ini akan membuat mindset entrepreneurial Anda semakin terasah, networking Anda semakin luas, dan kapasitas karir Anda akan meningkat.
Selama kuliah di UC Online, saya sangat menikmati konsep flexible learning yang diterapkan. Kurikulum yang dirancang dengan baik dan dapat diakses online kapanpun dan dimanapun, memberikan fleksibilitas yang sangat membantu, terutama dengan jadwal mengajar saya yang padat sebagai seorang guru bahasa Mandarin. Di sela-sela luang saya mengajar, saya dapat menyempatkan diri untuk belajar materi perkuliahan melalui platform e-learn. Saya yakin bahwa ilmu manajemen dan entrepreneurial mindset yang saya peroleh di manajemen UC Online akan sangat aplikatif bagi perkembangan karir dan pribadi saya. 来吧，加入 UC Online 和我们一起学习。
Sebagai seorang content creator dan influencer, saya menikmati perkuliahan S1 Manajemen di UC Online yang mengasah kreativitas dan pola pikir bisnis saya. Ilmu-ilmu manajemen yang diajarkan sangat membantu pekerjaan saya memiliki arah dan sistem yang profesional. Tidak hanya itu, saya juga bertemu dengan berbagai profil pengusaha dan profesional yang tergabung di dalam kelas UC Online. Selain mendapat ilmu akademis, saya juga mendapatkan beragam bisnis insight dan sharing-sharing praktisi yang berguna untuk perjalanan karir saya.
Mari, ambil peluang ini dan raih mimpi masa depan Anda. Bergabunglah sekarang di UC Online.
Bagi Anda yang ingin bekerja sebagai web and mobile apps developer, network analis, data analis, dan digital entrepreneur, atau Anda yang ingin meningkatkan keterampilan baru di bidang tersebut, UC Online menghadirkan program S1 Informatika yang akan memperlengkapi Anda dengan berbagai ilmu pengetahuan seperti algoritma, pemrograman web, pemrograman mobile, database, jaringan komputer, keamanan jaringan, sains data, kecerdasan buatan, dan masih banyak mata kuliah pendukung lainnya. Nikmati kemudahan kuliah online dengan waktu yang sangat fleksibel. Permasalahan yang dikaitkan dengan aktivitas pekerjaan kita sehari-hari. Dan yang pasti, kita bisa kuliah sambil tetap bekerja.
Hal yang saya suka saat berkuliah di UC Online adalah kita didorong untuk melihat problem sehari-hari yang terjadi. Kemudian membuat rumusan bagaimana kita menyelesaikan permasalahan tersebut. Hal ini menurut saya penting saat diterapkan di dalam dunia bisnis, karena insting kita untuk menyelesaikan sebuah problem sudah diasah sejak berkuliah. Berkuliah di UC Online membentuk saya menjadi seorang pebisnis yang kompeten. Didukung dengan ilmu IT yang terkini, kombinasi antara keilmuan dan pengalaman praktik bisnis menjadi paket lengkap yang saya dapatkan di Informatika UC Online.
Materi-materi yang diajarkan di S1 Informatika UC Online sangat mendalam dan terkini, membawa saya lebih jauh dalam memahami dunia web development dan AI. Keunggulan kurikulum ini memberikan saya kesempatan untuk belajar dari para ahli di bidangnya, mengasah keterampilan teknis, dan merancang solusi inovatif. Saya dipersiapkan dengan baik untuk menghadapi tantangan industri yang terus berkembang.
Sekarang adalah waktunya Anda. Raihlah mimpi Anda menjadi digital entrepreneur yang handal. Bersama dengan partner-partner kerjasama UC, peluang karir dan masa depan cerah telah menanti Anda. Daftarkan diri Anda sekarang juga.
Bagi Anda yang ingin meningkatkan kompetensi, terutama di bidang business consultant, chief marketing officer, intrapreneur maupun entrepreneur, sekarang UC Online menghadirkan program S2 Manajemen dengan sistem pembelajaran full online yang tentunya akan sangat memudahkan Anda untuk mengemban pendidikan di tengah kesibukan Anda. Terdapat 2 peminatan di S2 Manajemen, yaitu Strategic Marketing Management dan Strategic Service Management. Pada Strategic Marketing Management, pembelajarannya akan berfokus pada penciptaan strategi pemasaran yang disesuaikan dengan perilaku konsumen. Sedangkan pada Strategic Service Management, pembelajarannya akan berfokus pada penciptaan layanan yang prima dalam sebuah institusi sampai dengan bagaimana sebaiknya melakukan revitalisasi layanan dalam sebuah organisasi.
Waktu perkuliahan UC Online yang fleksibel merupakan solusi bagi saya yang memiliki jadwal yang padat namun ingin tetap menimba ilmu di perkuliahan. Metode belajar mandiri, mentoring yang intensif, dan tatap muka online yang dapat di-playback memungkinkan saya untuk belajar di mana saja dan kapan saja. Kualitas dosen di UC Online tentu saja sudah tidak diragukan. Pembelajaran di Magister Manajemen UC Online semakin mempertajam kemampuan dan pemahaman saya terhadap proses bisnis untuk menghadapi tantangan ke depan. Dengan studi kasus dan mentoring dari praktisi, membuat pembelajaran lebih aplikatif dan tidak sekedar teori.
Berkuliah Magister Manajemen di UC Online adalah pilihan yang tepat bagi saya seorang wanita karir dan ibu rumah tangga yang mengurus keluarga. Jadwal perkuliahan online yang fleksibel memudahkan saya mengatur aktivitas sehari-hari dengan seimbang. Metode belajar bisa dilakukan secara mandiri dan juga secara online bersama-sama. Materi praktik bisnis yang diberikan sangat aplikatif karena tidak hanya mengajarkan teori saja, tapi langsung dapat dieksekusi dalam pekerjaan kita.
Masa depan Anda ditentukan dari sekarang. Manfaatkan kesempatan ini untuk mengupgrade diri menjadi pribadi yang lebih baik. Ayo join S2 Manajemen UC Online dan raih manfaatnya. Daftarkan diri Anda sekarang.
Hello everyone! Welcome to today's global webinar, partly organized by Universitas Ciputra Online, with the theme Digital Transformation and Smart Cities, US Experiences, and Global Insight for Business and Society. My name is Chacha, and together with my colleague,
my name is Ivan,
we will be your host and moderator for today's session.
Okay, to begin our event in the best way, let us take a moment for prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Almighty God, we thank you for bringing us together in this meaningful event and for keeping us in good health. We also want to thank you for the opportunity to gather and learn today. Please bless our speaker, participants, and organizers so that the session may run smoothly and bring valuable benefits for all of us. May you grant us wisdom, understanding, and inspiration that we can apply in our daily lives and future careers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Now, before we dive in, let's check the energy in this room. How's everyone feeling today? If you're absolutely ready, show us a thumbs up. If you're really looking forward to today, show us a heart reaction. And if you're ready to cheer up the event, drop a clap emoji. And if you're super excited to make this session amazing, let's see the party emoji. Come on everyone, light up the chat with your reaction. Wow, I can already feel the excitement. Thank you. Let's keep the spirit as we go through the webinar.
Okay, since we're all set and ready, let me share today's agenda. First of all, there is this opening session, and then continue with the presentation from our speaker. After the presentation, there will be a Q&A session, so for any of you who wants to ask questions, feel free. Followed by a group photo. Afterwards, you'll complete the attendance and feedback form. And finally, that's it for our agenda today. To make sure everything runs smoothly and everyone enjoys the session, my partner will share a few important guidelines for today.
Before we begin, let me kindly remind you of a few important rules during this webinar. First, for UC students, please don't forget to fill in the attendance and feedback form on CEDX, which will be provided at the end of the session. And for external participants, you may complete the attendance through the link shared in the chat room. Second, for UC student, please rename for the format major underscore full name. Third, please turn on your camera and use the official background that has been shared. Fourth, keep your microphone on mute unless you are invited to speak. And last, participate actively in discussion and maintain a conducive atmosphere. Now that we're all set, it's time to meet our distinguished speaker. But first, let me start with a question. Have you ever wondered how can a country and its people truly keep up with the rapid digital change that's happening all around us? That's exactly why we chose today's step. We are now living in the era of digital transformation where governance, innovation, and even the way we build the smart cities are evolving so fast. And we don't just want to observe, we want to learn from global experiences. That's why today we are going to explore what's happening in the United States so we can take the lesson and later adapt them to fit Indonesia's culture and needs.
And speaking of learning from global experiences, we are very fortunate today to have someone who truly represents this journey. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Oscar Zaky, Master of Science, a community leader and entrepreneur based in the US. But before I continue with his profile, hello, Mr. Oscar. How are you today?
I'm good, everybody. How are you?
Okay, very well, very well. Thank you.
Do you all hear me?
We're so glad to have you with us. Mr. Oscar has over 25 years of experience in the IT industry, having worked as a senior solutions architect in several leading companies such as VTC Corp, Harmonious Holding Groups, and CEI America. He also holds a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering with a biomechanical focus from the University of Pittsburgh, and a Bachelor of Civil Engineering from Institute Technology Bandung. Beyond his professional career, Mr. Oscar is a respected community leader in the DMV area, contributing to organizations such as IMAAM, IAA, and IDEA USA, and he is also the founder of Noble Smart. So, not only does he bring professional expertise, but also a strong spirit of leadership and community service. And for those of you who want to stay connected, don't forget to keep in touch with Mr. Oscar via LinkedIn. Now, please join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to Mr. Oscar Zaky. Without further ado, let us begin today's webinar. Mr. Oscar, the screen is yours.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be a speaker here with Universitas Ciputra. How's everybody doing?
Doing good, Pak.
Screen here. So before we get started, let's see where is everybody coming from? Meaning, what city are you in and all that, just to see. You can put it on the chat and then we'll see where's everybody coming from. So I am in Washington, D.C. If you have been to Washington, D.C. before, you can say hi, something. Let me see, where is the chat here? Let me see, where is the chat? Yeah, so I live in Washington, D.C. I came in US in 1993. At that time, I was a just fresh graduate, and I've been working as a assistant professor at ITB. And then what happened is I always wanted to go to the US. So there was an opportunity for me to study at that time. And then I decided, okay, let's go. And I went to the University of Pittsburgh. I got a teaching assistant to complete my master's degree. And then I was pursuing my PhD degree, but I decided to switch career because I always like to do programming, coding and all that. So even one of the work that I was doing at my master was doing a three-dimensional analysis of heart. So we were doing scanning and then generate a 3D model. That was before AI, before everything. And so I like doing that. And then the Y2K crisis came, and then some companies needed some programmer to help with the Y2K conversion. That was a big time at that time. Because there was a worry that the intrinsic calendar of computers will not be working over the year 2000. And that's when I decided, okay, let's just go as a software engineer. That's where my career started. Over time, I have been working for over 26 years now. And in 1998, we moved to Washington, D.C. This is different because, do you see my screen here? Yeah, this is different because there's a lot of Indonesian community in Washington, D.C., and that's how I get involved with the Indonesian community. All right. Am I sharing? I'm sharing screen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that's now the topic that I wanted to share tonight, this morning actually, is about digital transformation and smart cities. This is based on my experience working as a software engineer in different companies for different federal agencies in the US, mostly in the US. But recently, I also completed some work in Indonesia, a study with the PLN. Next screen. Yes. So I will cover the big picture of digital transformation, smart cities in practice, business management and perspective, and also global lessons in country perspective, because us being here in the US, now everything's global. Then that's where we can take advantage, especially you guys can take advantage of the latest technology development, and then what is coming up next. I already told you about myself, but here's a big quiz. If anybody know what is the DMV stands for, you can put it on the chat. And then you can ask the prize from the organizer. Okay. What does it mean by digital transformation? See, so as many of you know, I started in the year 2000, when companies started worrying about, will the computer work beyond the year 2000? At that time, it was 1998, and then a lot of companies are still using mainframe, for example. I was working for an electric company back then. The client was an electrical company, and then they were worried about, will the billing and all that still working after the year 2000? So that's what a lot of hiring at that time happening, because a lot of companies wanted to make sure that the computer still working after the year 2000. But guess what? Even until now, there are companies in the US that still use a technology that is over 20 years old, or even maybe not even using an automation. Okay, so what does it mean to do a digital transformation? One is we have to do holistic organizational change, because when we do transformation, we have to change the way we think. We have to reshape the culture. We have to change the process and how we engage the customer. Just for example, if previously a company, an organization take form, standard request through calls or something. Now, those can be automated using chatbot, for example. That changes. A lot of customers still like to talk to people, but if you go to, for example, many US companies' website, they do not have customer service online anymore. They have all chatbots, and even if some companies who have, for example, online customer service, they're not even in the US. All those customer services are non-US based. Some of them are in India, some of them are in Eastern Europe, some of them are, in Vietnam, for example, Philippines. I've been thinking the reason I found it Noble Smart was that how can we as Indonesia compete with all these countries? Because technologically, we are as smart as everybody else, but it's about the opportunity. How can we get the opportunity to compete with them? Okay, so that's where we need to do the change. And then the technology infrastructure. Do we have that capability, that technology that will support our capability to compete? Okay, so for example, Indonesia is one of the largest internet users, but what is everybody doing with the access to internet? Are they learning, or are they posting content, or are they just watching other people watching, movie or something? Everybody has the same amount of time, but it's what you use. Okay, and that what brings the next topic is the digital thinking integration, that we have to be able to think digitally. Okay, we have to be able to look for tools that will help us move forward. Now, how do companies? So before we go to this screen, I want to know how many of you are actually working in IT. So can we pull the poll? Chacha or Ivan? How many of you are actually working in IT?
Wait. Oh, IT was actually my major.
Okay. How about everybody else?
Yeah, Pak Oscar, this Kemal speaking. Yeah,
Yes.
I think there's the agile methodologies usually applied in for the software development and
Yes.
cloud computing. Also, if we knew regarding the ISAKA, this one is the one of the emerging technology and data-driven decision making using the data analytics. There is ODBC and the graph database that I'm using for graph database to develop the use case. The use case that complex use case, the community use case using the graph database. So I think the approach in the US organization now also already apply in Indonesia.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So many companies. So the government here. I was talking earlier about the digital thinking, right? The digital mindset, the holistic organization. Now, I have been working for a lot of government entities, and in many cases, they have the mindset that, oh, because it's government, then we don't have to change a lot. And it's actually sometimes it makes them left behind. And for example, the government has approaches in project management, standard development life cycle, SDLC, that when you do development, then you have to get all the fully requirement first, and then get to do development, and then start again, and then review. But then with agile methodology, it's all different now. Many of the companies now, many of the agencies, they adopt the agile methodology. So the agile is not like waterfall methodology. There's a different. The waterfall methodology is you complete everything first and then you deploy. With the agile, you build pieces of the software, because I'm just talking about software, but usually it applies to typical project management. You build a little piece of it and then deploy it, and that makes the progress faster and more trackable. So that's one about the agile methodology. The cloud adoption. The cloud adoption is still going on in the US. A lot of companies now moving towards the cloud, and that is the big move in modernization application. Recently, about 2 years ago, I was working for Metropolitan Police Department. Then they have an application that was built on mainframe. This is a 20 years old application built on mainframe on VMS, and the database is Adabas. If you look up Adabas, some of you may not have been born when Adabas was written. Okay, so and this is an application that maintains the timesheet for 4,000 people in the police department in Washington, D.C. So they try to do use PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, SharePoint. They try to use SharePoint and make it as a timesheet management application. And then that failed because SharePoint has too many limitations. So then they tried to get, okay, let's find a vendor that has a timesheet management application. So they did that. It failed again because the request that they wanted for the application was too much, and that application will require too many customization. It became too expensive. So then they decided, let's just go custom. Excuse me. So they decided to do custom, and that's where I helped them basically write from scratch the application, and that's what they're using. Now, the reason is that this is where the data-driven decision-making comes, because when you see a lot of data, you have to choose what platform, what application, and what is the process of why you choose to do that. And also, a lot of other factors has to be considered. For example, the operational efficiency. They have the mainframe that just for the licensing, for the maintenance, and all that became too expensive, and nobody knows about the database by then. Only one guy, and then they have to pay him very expensive. So that's why we move to the cloud and we make it accessible for everybody. And then even if I'm not there anymore, somebody else can continue maintain and build that. We also enforce governance transparency, because with timesheet, everybody has to put their time, right? Whether it's overtime, standard time, and this, that, and then that involves, salaries, overtime pay, and all that. And that, as a government entity, they have to be able to show that the payroll and all that meets the what they were budgeted. And also for the citizen experience, for the users, everybody who's punching the timesheet and all that, they don't want to use a DOS-based interface where the mouse doesn't even work in the legacy application. Just how old that application was. Okay, so they have to do that, to convert that, but I have to make sure that the interface still look similar. And then it's also for being able to compete in the global world, because when you have a modern application, you have a mobile application, then you can, it makes it easy for people anywhere from to access the in this case the timesheet application. For people who are on the field, they don't have to go to the office, punch time in and all that. So what are some of the examples that I have worked before? Stateside. Stateside was a non-profit association that gather all the information about rules that is being about bills, peraturan about bills that is being promoted in different states and different counties. So, for example, if a state has a rule, okay, the taxes for this state will be 10%, for example, or the real estate tax is 2%. Okay, or the business that some businesses can operate in this area, or some business cannot operate in that area. That kind of rule. There are about 3,600 counties, 3.600 kabupaten lah kira-kira di Amerika, ya, county level. So every county has their own rules, and then the county rules follow the rules from the state. There are about 52 states, so every state they have their own bills. RUU, the bills that is being state, and this association was they manage they scan the bill. So, and then the companies will come to them and then check, hey, can you help me? Because in the US, there are a lot of companies working in different states and all that. So they need to know the rule. How does this rule impact my business? And then they have to be able to find out, okay, that your business is impacted by this rule. This rule goes into effect when, for example, the recent salary wage increase, $15 per hour, starting 2025, for example. That doesn't apply for restaurant worker because restaurant worker doesn't get tips. So that kind of rules, every business has to know, every state or county issues some bills. That's where they modernized their application. They have to scan 52 states and cities and all that, and then combine everything. And then AI can actually help summarize and all that. So those are some of this. I mentioned about the MPD earlier. I have worked on some other projects with the Department of Transportation and Food Security. Some of this may apply in Indonesia. Okay. All right. I don't want to get into. So what is a smart city? Smart city in practice. A lot of modernization in smart city involve transportation, public safety, and electronic services. A typical example would be smart traffic management or public safety monitoring, or some of these digital governance services. An example, again, as somebody who has a engineering background, I always, when I go to places or cities and all that, I look at how does this work? How does that work? Why did they build this way? Why did they build it that way, for example? Give an example. There is a toll road coming from Virginia to Washington, D.C. It's about maybe 15 miles. Okay. 25 kilo lah dari from Virginia to Washington, D.C. So in the morning, this toll road applies HOV2. That means if your vehicle, it's now HOV3. If your vehicle has 3 or more passenger, then you can go through the toll road without paying. Okay, so they have this camera system. I think in Indonesia they also have it HOV3. They have this camera that capture how many people are in the vehicle, and then instantly integrated with the payment system, so they don't get the charge. In here, for the traffic management, we have a smart tag. That's something that we stick on the windshield, and then there's a transponder that receives the signal and it automatically charge. So there's no no stopping by with that stick, your hand sticking out with the Metro card towards the toll. Nothing. People just go through, and then even if you do not have, for example, the smart tag, the camera system will scan your license plate and then will send you a bill for additional fee. Okay. Now, recently, a few years ago, they improved that system that now, even with without HOV3, you can drive alone, but they also increase the price if, for example, if the traffic gets more busy. So now, at one time, in the morning, if the traffic is really bad, it can cost you $45 because there's no limit, there's no cap. $45 one way from DC to from Virginia to Washington DC. People still pay for that. That's crazy. Public safety monitoring is everywhere here. A lot of recent shooting, for example, in the US with Charlie Kirk. camera captures everywhere, using it in movies and all that. So that's not new. Even in Indonesia, I think it's more advanced, especially people going in and out the building. Not many places in the US uses that system. Actually, Indonesia is probably better for that one. Digital government services. A lot of counties level, they have websites. They are people look for information through their website for services, etc. Now, what is required to do that? Data. So a lot of these places, a lot of these agencies, they already have data. But having a lot of data doesn't mean doesn't always give you advantage. Okay, and this is why companies, data science is a big thing here now, because having data, you still have to verify whether your data is valid, whether there's duplicates, whether that fits your constituents. For example, I was giving you an example earlier about a real example about the stateside, right? Stateside, they have a lot of data, but can everybody use their data? No, only some businesses that needed some of the bills that are related with their business need a portion of state-sized data, for example. And with that, it comes the need for the cloud computing, because if you are using an on-premise, it becomes a lot of initial costs in the beginning. And back then, of course, there's no cloud, so you have to provide the service, the servers, and all that, the infrastructure. Now with the cloud, you can always sign up for a cloud, try a new program, write a new code, try a new server. If you don't like it, you can delete it, start a different server, or you can auto scale it and all that. So that's where the power of cloud computing plays. Even in the US, maybe not. There, a lot of companies started moving into the cloud platform, cloud native services, and a lot of companies, also American companies, they already have servers or branches in Indonesia. I know AWS have the AWS Southeast Asia, and then Microsoft Azure, also GCP is very popular in Indonesia. And you don't have to be technical to use the cloud. You can be in sales, you can be an analyst, you still have to know what differences between traditional and non-cloud. And of course, the IoT. The IoT is where you can control things remote, monitor remotely. We were working on a project for PLN last year, and then PLN has 50 to 100 power plants, for example. They can control, or monitor their diesel power plants with, for example, with IoT. That's an example. How do for a lot of this implementation, they will need a lot of partnership. But there are different models, of course. If the government has money, they can provide all the money, and then they can build something. But a lot of companies or a lot of agencies, they may not have money, or a lot of local municipalities, they don't have money. So they can start building public-private partnership in smart city development. There are different models that can be used. They can use first of all, you have to have a strategic collaboration. Who does that? What kind of access, what kind of data can be shared and all that. And then promote funding and innovation. For example, in the county that I work, that I live, there is an agency called Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. So they promote funding and innovation. They give money to company who move to this area and start a business. I don't know if there are municipalities in Indonesia that does that gives some incentive for companies to do that kind of projects, or start. Let's say if you want to start a project, do a startup in Surabaya, for example. Does the city of Surabaya or the Pemda Jawa Timur can give funding, for example, or and then how do they maintain that? And also sustainability. Being a startup is not always easy, and a lot of companies fail in doing a startup. So that's where you have to make, if you want to start a company, do it while you're young, because then you don't have to worry about fail. You can always start a new one, start a new idea. But some, what are some of the case studies? My friend of mine has innovation that he started with some friends. They have a mini pod AI-enabled health center. So this product is like maybe 10 by 10 feet, 3 meter kali 3 meter ya, box gitu. It's AI box, is fiberglass made, and then modular. So, but it's integrated with AI. It has its own power source from solar. It has its own battery system. It has its own lighting. It has its own computer. This is actually a product that can be really used in Indonesia for remote location to improve health services. And it's standalone and it's modular because you can have, let's say, for example, a cardio unit here, and then Ronson here, and then something else on other unit, and then it can be implemented. It can be, they have prototype implemented in Alaska and Italy. So that is something, a smart city, real case smart city project. IoT monitoring, I mentioned that, and also I mentioned about the traffic based toll monitoring. All right, so I was looking at the chat. Okay. Magetan, Balikpapan, Morowali, Sorong, Sidoarjo, Cikarang, Jakarta, Ternate, Denpasar, Sumbawa. Awesome. So from Sabang to Merauke, basically, Tenggarang, Yogyakarta, there's Florida. What is Florida? Nusa Tenggara. All right. Let's go to next section. Now, do we have the poll? Cloud? Okay. All right. So, business and management perspective. As somebody who you may be working in the IT or not even in the IT, but you still have to know the basic framework that your company is working on. For example, in the US, there is an agency called NIST, and they maintain all the standard about, for example, cybersecurity. They maintain everything related with cybersecurity. There are maybe hundreds of sections that just maintain the standard of cybersecurity. The companies who want to get a government contract, they actually have to meet the standard and to meet the certification. And to get that certification, you have to get your people trained and certified. So if, for example, if you're a single person company, you cannot get everything, because for you to be able to get that, you have to be certified, and then you may not be in the field. The other thing is also the budget. Excuse me. For every project here in the US, I hope in Indonesia too, but the government issues an RFP, a request for proposal, publicly available. People can bid on the RFP, and then people can see who won the contract, for example. And because I live in Washington, D.C., there is a lot of company, and government contracting is a big industry in Washington, D.C. So there are a lot of companies who offer services to simplify the process of applying for government contracts. Say, for example, if I'm in Washington, D.C., I can apply for projects in Virginia, in Maryland, in New Jersey, and all that. And again, all these companies, they compile data, everything. They can help you prepare. And that's a big industry. And a few years ago, there was a modernization effort with project procurement in Indonesia. And I hope they are being used properly. I know there are some different categories of projects that maybe some project can be a direct appointment. But if not, people can freely compete for a project, and they can protest if they don't like that somebody won the project. Okay, so that's just the whole and a lot of companies, they can start small and then they become big, and that's what happened with all these companies. A lot of these companies, they started small and then they won a contract, and then they did a good job, and then they become big, and then they have to they can easily get contracts. But yeah, so that's where a lot of these companies won. Of course, they won because of the technology services they provide. They also do a lot of innovation. And then change management. For us as a company, especially in the government agency, if we are working for a government agency and then we propose a project, for example, the government agency may not like it, and this is where somebody with a good communication skill can address that, and then tell them that, hey, times change, maybe this technology is expired or obsolete, that you need to move to new technology, and then this is where you can help them move to using the new technology. Now, as a company, we also have to train the employees, because in the old days, maybe we were using SDLC, maybe we were using standard server, not the cloud-based. How do we follow this? There are different ways to do that. Training is one of them. And there are a lot of all these cloud companies, for example, they offer certification. There is different types of certification, from something called introductory or medium level or expert level or specialty level. Just in the basic level, for example, AWS and Azure offer a practitioner service. That means if you don't know anything about cloud, you can take the certification training about cloud practitioner. It will give you some knowledge, basic knowledge. You don't have to be technical, but at least you know the terms about the cloud. And then, for example, if you are more advanced, you can take the developer lessons or the developer certification or solution architect. There's associate level, there's a full level, and there is also specific certification. For example, security certification, data science certification. Nowadays, there are AI and ML certification. And all of this certification will help you get exposure and also help you get jobs, that it shows you that you're capable, you're knowledgeable, and people can hire you. And then how do you measure the success is in the smart city. People can measure it by how satisfied are the citizens, because a lot of companies, a lot of places, they choose to stay there because they're happy and they can do everything without the government, without having to do everything manually. Say, for example, here, about 15 minutes from my place, there's a city called Ashburn. Now, in the city of Ashburn, they grow a lot since the last 20 years. There are a lot of data centers built in the city of Ashburn or around the city of Ashburn. So by the report, 70% of internet traffic actually goes through Ashburn, because there are so many data centers. All these giant companies in the US, they must have a data center in the Ashburn, and then because of that, a lot of people move to Ashburn. And a lot of many of them are Indians because they work in IT. So all these data centers, all these companies move to Ashburn. They have to have all these people working on the data center and all that, and they like there because they're satisfied. Everything, services, public services, very good, secure. There's crime rate is very low. They can do everything. They have a new recreation center that a lot of people like to go, to get a balance of life and all that. So this is one, and the other thing is they also one of the, if not number one or number two county with the highest income in the US, Ashburn, and one of them, the other county is in New York. So that's just an example of a smart city implementation. A lot of other factor, of course, cost reduction and sustainability is where people stay there, and also how all these companies may be able to maintain staying in modern, and also keep the employee happy. All right. I hope everybody's following. Doing so far? Can we have some wave or something?
Yes, sir. It's very interesting.
Okay. All right. So, global lessons and the country perspective, right? So I shared my experiences and working for different industries and all that. Now, if you look at all these major companies, right? The major tech companies from Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon, IBM, Facebook, and not some of these AI companies. Most of their even non-IT companies, some of them are now held by all the CEOs are, a lot of them are Indian. Now, I don't have anything against Indians, but for me, when I started working in the IT industry, I know that I have to compete with them because they have the they have the maybe the English speaking ability is better than most average. I was I'm not worried about that because I'm not worried about competing in speaking English with them, for example. But in terms of technology, some of them are really smart, and a lot of them, if they go to school here and then they study the company and then they become big, and then they won government contract or they became startup and all that. I don't see a lot of Indonesians do a startup. Yes, there are a lot of. I founded. I co-founded. One of the reasons I co-founded the Indonesian Diaspora Entrepreneur Association is IDEA, is because I wanted to see Indonesian in the US have a significant stamp in the IT industry or any industry and become recognized. Okay, so this is where we can learn from people from other countries. Here in the US, we have to compete with other nations. The Indians are, for example, they're very good in IT and also in medical, for example. So a lot of Indian doctors in NIH, National Institute of Health. There are a lot of Chinese researchers. In one of the counties here in Maryland, there are a lot of Russians. The Russians are also very strong in analytical, in programming. Now and the trend is growing now. A lot of people also from Africa, they started working in, maybe not in the IT as coding and all that, but they started working in testing, for example, and they get into the industry. So as a community leader, I look at all this, the Indonesians, where are the Indonesians? I work for maybe 10 different companies. And in 10 those different companies across my career, at one of those companies, there's always one Indonesian. Hey, I saw his name, for example. Hey, kamu Indonesia ya? Oh, then we started talking. But then, where's everybody else? Everybody else is non-Indonesian. Now, is that a bad thing? No, maybe we just don't have the right opportunity because they don't have the opportunity to come here. But now with the global internet everywhere, access internet is the same for everybody. You don't have to be in the US to be able to compete. In fact, you can start a company, you can do a startup, you can start doing something with AI, learn something, learn coding, build something. You just look around you, what's happening around you that needs to be modernized, that needs to be digitized. And then this is where what we all need to learn. I'm still learning, for example. How can we adopt digital transformation into something local? Okay. Just for example, not yesterday, last year, we went to Bali. Okay. Again, I always look at the surrounding. Yes, we go enjoy vacation and all that, but an example of social economic adaptation. If you go to, you all know, go to some street just in Jakarta, for example, you don't have to go from, let's say, if you live in, I don't know, maybe you live in Bekasi, for example. There's so many businesses in Bekasi that sells food, for example. So a question come up to me: do the government tax them? Do they pay taxes? Or how do they report their income? Does the government know how many small businesses are there? And if who collects all this trash, for example, who pays all this? All these are, is something that you see every day, but you don't see. If you don't think about it, you don't see anything. Oh, you just eat that. But as a visionary, it's something that you have to, how can you make this better? So I met somebody in Bali. In Bali, there is this organisasi massa, ormas, called Pecalang, right? Everybody knows that about Pecalang. So they utilize this company, this startup, they work together with the Pecalang group, the ormas, to collect the data for all these small businesses and to do a profit sharing. Profit sharing means they collect the fund officially, and then they give portion of that to the government, to the local municipality. So they're happy to get money from the taxes. The people are not unemployed because they are working, they get paid. And then the businesses, they're not worried about being bullied because they know that this Pecalang is actually taking care of them, not bullying them, asking for money without a return of services. So this kind of model can actually work in different places. Okay. Cultural consideration, you can also do a lot of services in terms of religious, for example, or social services. We used to work, again, as a community leader, we work with a nonprofit called DC Central Kitchen. So this organization provide food for homeless people. Yeah, you don't know that in America, even though it's a superpower, there are still homeless people, and these homeless people, they depend on the government to get food, to get basic services, medical, shower, and all that. So there's this non-profit organization that actually provide this. They collect donation. And they offer shelter for homeless people, so they can stay there, take shower, and all that, and then they can eat there. So I invited some of the youth in our group every month or every week, every month we come there and then we cook for the homeless, and then this help them give the some kind of social responsibility. Until now, my daughters, they still like to go to the homeless because it built them. Now, of course, in Indonesia, if you see everywhere, people who are asking for money, do something. There's always a way to do that. A friend of mine built an application to help people. He's Indonesian. He's in Canada, in Toronto. He built an application to help people get out of debt. Okay, by pulling money from the people and then instead of getting paying interest to the bank, he helped them, and then once they help this guy get out of debt, and then help somebody else. So the money is using a Sharia compliant model. Masyarakat and Mudarabah help each other. That works. The application is called Bang Nano. You can Google it. Those are something that you can build. So again, for you to be able to build something, you need to understand some technology. You can, if you have money, you can hire somebody, or do a collaboration with people who know about IT, and then build that. And now, with the this is exactly what we're doing now: international collaboration and knowledge sharing. In the US, there are a lot of resources, a lot of professionals that are working in different industries. For example, the IITB, Ikatan Alumni ITB, we have maybe about 150 people, members of Alumni ITB, that are working in different industries. In the US, some of them are architects, some of them are planners, some of them in IT, some of them are professors and all that. And a lot of us do contribute one way or another through project, through webinar, through organizations. There's an organization called Indonesian Diaspora Network. That organize everybody, organize all these people to at least do something to Indonesia. Knowledge exchange, of course, we always do that. And the thing is, with knowledge exchange, there's the progress in the IT industry is now so fast that even if I'm working in the IT industry, I cannot catch up with everything. A few months ago, ChatGPT released, for example, ChatGPT 5. And then the following week, Cloud 4.1 released something, and then DeepSeek released something, and then Grok. Everybody's competing, and then it's just so hard to compete. So you have to focus on one thing. If you want to learn something, focus on one thing. But be consistent, because the future is great, especially now everybody is have access to internet. There's no reason for you not to learn. Even, for example, Harvard and other universities, they offer free courses. Harvard, I think, offer about 5 or more, 15 courses about AI and IT free. I used to teach at George Mason. This is before COVID. I used to teach at George Mason University, a local university. Exactly the same way how Universitas Ciputra is doing. So they have students that wanted to learn something or new things about IT, or they want to change career, for example. Maybe they were an accountant or something, sales, and then they want to learn more about IT. They want to switch into IT. So I teach them, web development, database design, coding, graphic design, whatnot. And a lot of them are actually were able to switch career and then enjoy it. So, but now everything is online. You can take courses. You can take free courses, or you can take online courses that paid, getting certification, and improve your future. So what's the future look like? The future is looking good, especially if you're in the IT. Now, in the US, there are some changes. For example, the policy In the US is a little bit different. It's now more America first, but it doesn't mean for other countries you have to depend on America, for example. Resources are available worldwide. Just for example, the advancement of AI and machine learning. There's a lot of everybody. If you are not using AI, then you probably will be left behind. So, do we have the survey? See how many people are using AI? Okay, that's fine. We'll launch it later. Yeah. So, so there was maybe last month. Last month, I was attending a conference in New Jersey, and this is for professionals that are in AI and IT, especially in AI. So they gather and then they learn about how can we, utilize the AI for the community. Some of them are activists. So how can we utilize AI for community? Yes, you do not always learn, or you do not always trust what AI give you. For a lot of us probably using ChatGPT nowadays and then asking for things. Those are, if you see a scale, for example, those are the basic use of AI. You ask something, and then ChatGPT gives you something. But if you're in IT, a lot of these companies actually started using generative coding. So they use AI to help build application, even if you do not know, technology, for example, or at least you know something. Let's say just building a website, for example. If you go to maybe ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT, help me design a website for a company that does this, include this. It will give you a placeholder website, for example. You still have to know where to host the website and all that, or how to deploy it and all that, put the images and all that. So those are some example that you do not have to be a developer to build a website nowadays. And that's actually what happened in the US. There's a lot of unemployment, especially for fresh graduates. This is also a warning for all of you who are studying computer science and IT. I'm not scaring you, but I'm giving you what's happening in the US. A lot of companies started using AI for entry-level jobs. And then what happened is a lot of fresh graduates who expected to get at least entry-level jobs in the IT industry, they cannot find a job. It's very unfortunate. Even people who are in the mid-level, a lot of people get laid off because a lot of these companies, they're now started using AI to do basic work, proposal writing, for example, simple coding, a lot of things that a team of developer can do now. Team of 4 or 5 people, that you have an architect, you have a senior developer, junior developer, you have a tester, business analyst, that at least 5, 6 people. One person can do that. One person can write a prompt, build me an application to do this, put some condition, and then it writes your code. You have to be more specific in terms of what code it wants you to write. For example, Python, or JavaScript, or C#, HTML, Node, whatnot, and where you want to display it, or PHP, for example. But that's what's happening right now. A lot of companies started using generative coding, using AI to build some of their application or to modernize, and you don't need a lot of people to do that. A lot of my friends' children, they just graduated from maybe a few months ago. They still couldn't find a job. So knowing AI and being in the industry does not mean it guaranteed a job. Now, this is in America, so maybe in Indonesia it's different, but you have to be prepared what happens if your skills is not needed anymore. So you have to have some extra skill, extra critical thinking that can help you survive. Cybersecurity is always important. Protect data from different attacks. There's recently on TV, there's a municipality that get blackmailed. They were asking from some $800 million to secure. They get basically some group of hacker took over their system, and then they have to pay some ransom. So it's a ransomware. It's a big thing here too. Digital inclusion is also important because AI and technology is only benefit if it benefits everybody, not benefits just some groups. And that is, as an activist, that is always something that I put in myself, that if I build something, will it benefit the community, not just benefit myself or benefit a group. There are different ways people can write, can include people, different groups. So now in Indonesia, of course, there's a requirement that the company or the cloud provider have to be in Indonesia, and that's why the government have to enforce the cloud sovereignty control. A lot of companies are not enforcing that you cannot have if you are an Indonesian company, you cannot put your data outside Indonesia because it involves, private information, healthcare, and all that. So that's something that also implemented here. A lot of these companies, they hire Indians, but they do not if it is government agency, then they do not let the data go outside and all that. So what do you need to prepare? Having a skill or a degree is one thing, but you always need to build a leadership skill. And that is where, if you are involved, if you have the capability to involve or the willingness to get involved in the social local organization that gets you, especially being a student, you always can get activism. I was a ketua himpunan when I was in ITB, and that's where I built my leadership skill. And also digital disruption. As a technologist, you always think, okay, how can you disrupt existing framework, existing infrastructure? Because then only you can be recognized and then bring the community better. And then also do some transformation. As a leader, there was a saying, I went through it, a leadership training back home, back in Indonesia. And the leader is the one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. Okay, so as a leader, you have to know what's your role in driving the organization. And leadership can be learned through different ways. You know, I learned from campus, but I also learned from the martial art with Kairon. You know, we were in the same martial art group. And the future is how do you build a future that is inclusive and sustainable? It involves building a digital ecosystem that everybody have access to. But you also have to be environmentally responsible. That can help sustainability, that can reduce, that can improve the life of people. And you can look around, you don't have to look far. Just for example, look at some of the issues that is happening, that is common in Indonesia. For example, issue with trash management. Yeah. That is, if you can find something, a solution that can help improve the trash management in Indonesia through maybe building an app that build a company, work with some company that can manage the trash, process it, something, you build something good. There was a company here that convert trash into energy. And that was something that we pursued a feasibility study with one of the kabupaten in Indonesia, but then the policy of USA, of course, different, not renewable energy anymore. So we have to switch focus and build a resilient digital infrastructure, build a robust and digital system that that can withstand the time and can leave you a legacy. Okay, and as a conclusion, the technology changes very fast. You have to embrace it, or you will be left behind. There is a lot of opportunities that you don't have to be in the US to capture that, and then to learn something new, and then to use it for your benefit and for the society's benefit. You can learn from different sources. You can do a self-study and do something that just not benefit yourself, but also benefit others. Because in Islam, there is 3 ways. There's a hadith saying that the best person is the one that give benefit, more benefit to others. Okay, so but you don't have to be a Muslim to give benefit to others. You can, you know, be anybody to give benefit to others. Yeah, so include everybody, and especially your age. It's easy to work together on something instead of just posting content, get some attraction, do something, build something. So with that, I just about time here. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with all the bright futures of Indonesia, and hopefully this is not the last time we will meet. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I actually I may have some projects in Indonesia that if you want to learn something, you can contact me, and I'm looking forward to meet with everybody. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oscar, for such an insightful and inspiring presentation. You have given us a clear view of how digital transformation and smart cities are shaping the future and how lessons from the US can be adapted to Indonesia's context. So, from today's session, we learned that digital transformation goes beyond technology. It is a holistic change that reshapes culture, process, and the way organizations engage with people. We also saw how US smart cities use digital solutions in transportation, public safety, and e-government service powered by big data, cloud computing, and the Internet of Things. Most importantly, we were reminded that strong collaboration between government and the private sector is essential to sustain these initiatives. And as final takeaway, adapting to change and committing to continuous learning are the true foundation of success in today's globalized world.
All right, so everyone, now we will move on to the Q&A session. So for all participants, if you have any questions, please kindly raise your hand or write your question in the chat room, and I'll help to direct your question to our speaker. And from our past session, there is two questions from the chat room. The first one is from Ms. Desi Mariani. So to Mr. Oscar, I'm curious about the hacker or scammer attack on cloud-based public services data. Is there ever happened in the US? How long it could be solved? Is there any significant impact if it ever happened?
Yes, so it happens all the time. Even in the US, okay, even with all the standards that have been applied. In the US, there are very high standard for cybersecurity, and also for companies that cannot maintain their data and their data integrity. I used to work for the Department of Health and Human Services. So they maintain health information for individuals. And there are a standard for that. It's called HIPAA, HIPAA, that anybody who works on individual healthcare data, they have to make sure that the data is not breached. There's also cases where private companies get breached, and the government have to punish them, that they have to pay some fine. For example, if credit card companies, they get hacked all the time, and then credit card companies maintain your name, your personal information, date of birth, address, social security, and all that. A lot of these companies get breached, and the government punished them. You have to pay them, or you have to at least give some data protection services to all this company, so the customer do not get those anymore. So yes, it happen all the time, and there's government have to enforce it. They have people who violated that have to be punished, and even the companies who cannot maintain, they have to be a lot of these companies have to be punished. Does that answer?
To Ms. Desi, does that answer your question, or would you like to ask a follow-up question?
It's already answered my question. And that's correct. Actually, previously we have only small scale of like virus attack in 2020, and it make a lot of trouble for our database in Sumbawa Timur mining, Pak Oscar. And yeah, I think it should be more careful about the cloud data. Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna move on to our second question from Mr. Harry. To Mr. Oscar, from your experience using online government services in the US, have you found any ways to track progress or escalate things when responses are taking too long?
So government services, it's not always fast either, okay? Especially recently, with a lot of the government has to spend a lot of money maintaining infrastructure and all that, and some of these government entities, they also have to cut services. So with that, they have to transform their services. For example, if they previously have customer service, now they're replacing it into with AI bots, for example. So that transformation is still going on. A lot of government modernization is still going on, and when you're still building something, you cannot avoid having a slower response than normal. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, some people still want to talk to a person rather than to a chatbot. So that happens.
All right. Does that answer your question, Mr. Harry, or would you like to ask any follow-up questions?
That's sufficient, Pak. Thank you for the explanation, Pak Oscar.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the first one raising their hand. So for Mr. Kemal, please go ahead and ask your question.
Ya, terima kasih Mas Ivan. Terima kasih Pak Oscar. Pak Oscar, based on your experience in the US, have smart city initiatives already integrated green IT practices and also the agentic AI?
Yes. So a lot of cities in the US, they have their own initiative, and the government during the last administration, the government actually gave a lot of grant to adopt technology. For example, America is not like what you see on TV, right? There are people in big city like New York, Washington, Los Angeles, and all that. Yes, there are people who live in big city, all this highlight and all that. But there are also people who live in villages. People who live like even 1 hour from Washington, D.C., you can find a small village where people do not work in IT. People work in the farm, for example. Okay, so for smart city, all these rural places, the small cities, they still have to provide services to their community, to their constituents, and that's where some of these small cities, they probably do not have high internet access, for example, but they still have to get services. So yes, the government give some that, and then we work in the past with an organization called US Ignite. So US Ignite is a nonprofit that specializes in smart city development. So they help municipalities and cities develop design a smart city initiative that can improve their services. They actually have a community that also have some branches, I think, in Indonesia. We were planning to bring US Ignite to Indonesia, maybe in the future. Oh, you can start that. You can start an organization, Smart City Indonesia. I know somebody from ITB who is a well-known speaker for Smart City, but you can also figure out something at the local level. How can all this spread? Last year there was last year there was a delegation from Indonesia that was going to the US to do a comparison for smart city development with different cities of Indonesia. You know how many initiatives are there from Indonesia for smart city? 250 projects. 250 projects of smart city. That's so much. And guess what they need? They need people who understand cloud. They need people who understand IT. They need people who understand business. So the opportunity is there. And with the greenfield in Indonesia, there's nothing built. And with AI, now you can actually build it straight with AI. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait several years to catch up. So I hope that answers.
Sorry, Oscar, is that my question? You answer? Because
Yes, yes.
I'm asking about the green IT and agentic AI when you implement
The agentic AI, yes, yes. So the green IT
the smart
and
city.
agentic AI is very new in US as well. A lot of developer still learning about agentic AI, and then the progress every week there's always something new, right? Agentic AI, and then there's an MCP servers and all that. So a lot of companies started using agentic AI for development, but everybody is still, figuring out how to implement. And government also started figuring out, hey, yes, we have to start using agentic AI because with a lot of integration, agentic AI is the solution. With green IT, a lot of these data center that I mentioned, many of them use green energy sources. So if that's something that you thought about green, yes, a lot of this company, a lot of the power companies also started using renewable energy for their power source. They're building solar panel, that generates megawatts, million of watts. Because America is mostly land, so they can put solar panel everywhere, right? They don't have to put solar panel like in Jatiluhur on the water.
So from government, this is my last question. I think there's some friends that have the question. Do you see any regulatory frameworks, Pak Oscar, or government incentive in the US that specifically encourage the adoption of the green IT and AI urban development?
Yeah, so the government is still figuring out what to do with AI because AI is the wild, wild west now. It's non-regulated right now. And the development is so fast that how do you regulate it? Right? It's the government with the regulation, you have to set up a framework, right? Set up this, that. But the government is still thinking. Just the reason that now there are some concerns even with AI. There was a survey earlier on TV. Last year, maybe about 40% people are using AI. Now, maybe about more than 65% people are using AI. But there's a bad side of AI too. With all this development, there are some concerns with the latest development of AI. For example, people who are building robots, right? People who are building weapons with robots. There are actually a lot of concern about can they become like a real Terminator, and it's not impossible either. There was some weird people. Some people are using AI for weird reason. There was some guy who fell in love with a chatbot, and then just do some weird thing. Like, and then he left his family and because he loves his chatbot. Like, he's not even real. So these things, Americans also, things are like that happen in the US.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did. Thank you, Pak Oscar. Very insightful. Yeah. Thank you, Pak Mas Ivan. Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, we're gonna move on to our second question to Mr. Maulana. Please go ahead, open your cam and ask your question.
Okay, hello, Oscar. Hello, everybody. My question is, considering the ongoing geopolitical tension surrounding the data governance, for example, by the US-China conflict over TikTok or ByteDance, what strategies can business pursuing digital transformation adapt to navigate this issue, the complex and demands for data privacy and national security between major global power, for example, US and China. But on behalf because I am a ByteDance employee, this issue in my company it's over and over because of data privacy in the US, because of data privacy in India, and something like that. That's my question.
Yes, so that is a complex issue to handle with. It was just I think there was an announcement today that US is finally have a deal to buy TikTok, for example. But the algorithm is still owned by the Chinese company, the ByteDance, right? So the
Right.
question is, what about the algorithm? Will the algorithm be licensed to the US company? If it is owned by the Chinese, will the Chinese company, the parent company, give it to the US company and then leave it? Maybe not. They're still in discussion. So, so that's one thing. The other thing is, of course, there's a concern about the radicalization, right? The recent killing, for example, of Charlie Kirk, right? The media is saying, oh, there's some radicalization. We know about the radicalization issue in Indonesia. It happened a long time ago. We know some people who get radicalized and all that. But now the pressure becomes to this tech company because it's all this algorithm that pushes to the users. If they post something, then they get likes. So people actually get incentive to post something that may be just to gain attention, not because whether it's right or not. So those also a lot of discussion in the US regarding the policies of these US companies or the algorithm that they use. What is it that they it's a complex issue. Not to mention, just for example, same thing with the Palestine issue, for example, right? The algorithm and all that. So that's also
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's also important that if, let's say, even if you're not in IT, right? You need to understand all of this if you were working in the policy, for example. Some of you may not be working in IT, but you can work on a policy.
Yes.
Policy and regulation is also important to define all this. So yes, we don't need everybody to be in IT.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's answered the question.
Masih ada? Masih Bang?
Okay. Before I saw someone raising their hand, but it's already gone now. Do you still want to ask your question? For Mr. Angga, I believe.
Yes, Mas Ivan. But sorry, I cannot
Please
turn
turn
on
on
my
your camera,
camera.
Mr. Angga.
But
Yes.
sorry, I cannot turn on my camera because I was still doing a job in my home. Actually, I would like to asking about the question. Small things about their experience, Ms. Oscar. What the unique challenge have the US cities faced in their digital transformation journey, and how would they address it? I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah, the challenge with digital transformation is, I think I mentioned earlier, adoption is not easy for some organization, right? Also, with the model, if people want to use a cloud native services instead of traditional, services, building application and all that, cost will be involved. So with the subscription model, maybe you have to prepare properly to do, if especially if you're doing everything automation, for example. Having a cloud, using a cloud doesn't mean it's more cheaper, maybe, especially if the resources are not educated as well. So those are some of the challenges: adoption, funding, a lot of government with it's not only in Indonesia, they're cutting the budget for, in US government is also cutting a lot of budgets, and that also impact a lot of government agencies. Recently, there was a big layoff in the government, and a lot of IT people also they get laid off. And then who's going to maintain all this system? If they are in the middle of migration, what is the progress of the migration? Will it be delayed? Is it going to be postponed? Will be scrapped, for example? So that those issues also happen here. Does that answer your question?
I think it's already answered, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on with the questions from the chat room. So first of all, the question from Mr. Dedi Cahyono. I'm gonna rephrase it a bit. So to Mr. Oscar, when we talk about technology, it's about adopt and change the culture. Based on your experience, maybe it is already mentioned at your presentation, sorry I'm not captured. The question is, how do we implement it, and the simplest way to choose the right technology to be implemented?
Yeah, it's always choosing the right technology is it's not easy thing, right? It's easier if it is a new development and you're in charge. But if you're not in charge, if you're just an integrator and the system owner wants to use something that is different than what you want to implement, then most likely, because they're the one who has the funding, right? So you have to follow them. But it's the best practice that you want to show that regardless of the technology, it's what do you bring to the client with the transformation, with the modernization. For example, in the US, a lot of the development work in the software development, most probably using C# or everybody's government entities probably mostly using C# because they're using Microsoft Azure. Some, if they are using Java, then they probably go on AWS. But in Indonesia, I know a lot of development using PHP, right? So that's the difference. And then if I was trying to find a developer who can use C# in Indonesia, and it's difficult because everybody uses PHP. So that's just a sample because PHP is open source and all that. But if you want to hired by US company, then probably you should learn C# and all that. So that's an example. Yeah, what technology? Again, it depends on the client and of course your expertise.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Oscar. I think that's answered my question. But actually, Sorry, I am not to open my camera because I outside the room. So I think the culture is the. I agree with you, Mr. Oscar, because that you already said there's a difference, yeah, between US and Indonesia about how to make the application for the example. But good insight, Oscar. Thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now let's move on to another question from the chat room. It is from Mr. Eric Budiono. To Mr. Oscar, I would like to hear your opinion on this matter, sir. With all the tension raised over the tariff war initiated by U.S. current administration, how will this impact the research and improvement in the technology sector? I also read news that China is banning the use of NVIDIA GPU allegedly because of the tariff war. Thank you.
Yeah, this whole tariff is actually making it complicated, not just for other countries, but also for Americans. Just from the non-IT stuff, okay, the tariff, the goal is to reduce the deficit between US and other countries, but internally in the US, a lot of people are hurting. And that is just the fact. That's what on the news. A lot of, for example, a lot of farmers, they cannot maintain their farm. They cannot get people to work on the farm and all that. Now, on the technology side, it's also still going on. I know, but the NVIDIA issue that is still being discussed. Nothing is decided yet. Okay. And also, I think what was the other one? The research. I think China is also issuing their own chips or something. Right? That was on the news. They're not worried about if NVIDIA is not giving them chips. Yeah, it's fine. We can do something. So there is yeah. So it's still going on. The tariff is, and it's complicated. Now, what we can do is there are some benefits that we can take advantage of the tariff. For example, the trade between Indonesia and US. There are some commodities that other countries may not have, and Indonesia have, and then that's where Indonesia can take advantage. And then you need some, you need to know where to find the buyers and all that. So that's something that you can take advantage of.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you, sir, for your opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so for our last question from Mr. Kade Anggi Krisnawan to Mr. Oscar. If we talk about digital transformation, it means digitizing work that was previously done manually. If we implement this in Indonesia, where many jobs are still manual, it could become harder to find job opportunities. Digital transformations could make most tasks automatic and reduce the need for a large workforce. What is your perspective on this dilemma?
Yes. So I think I mentioned that earlier. I know in Indonesia, for example, if a foreign company want to do some work in Indonesia, there is this TKDN component, right? Local component, and Indonesia is still has the mindset of, because a lot of workforce in Indonesia. I understand that a lot of workforce, and then they have to get some employment. But it's also about upskilling. If Indonesia wants to go into Indonesia Emas 2045, we need to be able to compete in global market, and not every there's even if everything is still everything is digitized, not everything can be digitized. That's one thing, and you have to come up with the business adjustment. If everything is digitized, does it give you the return? I'll give you an example. For example, farming in the US, right? The farming industry in the US, you can manage acres of land, watering the acres of land with one person using a large machinery that, one person can operate it and then give water to acres of farmland without having to have hundreds of workers. Some companies also use machinery, robotic machines to pick up fruits, for example. In Indonesia, with the land condition, that may not be possible. If you're trying to pick up coconut, for example, right? Can you use machine to pick up coconut? Can you use machine to pick up coffee, for example, or pick up durian? But is the other part of that, what do you do with the coconut? Can you make value added from the coconut? Do not just sell the coconut to other country, but do something in Indonesia, like what the Thailand does. Instead of selling the coconut, make a value added. Put it as a santan, for example, as a coconut milk, and then sell it. Put it as a coconut juice and then sell it. Put it in as something else. Don't just sell the raw coconut. That's where Indonesia is still lack of modernization in that sector. But if you do a lot of that, you can add a lot of value to the product instead of selling raw products, right? And there's a lot of industries that can utilize a lot of workforce. Fishery, for example. Instead of selling fish, the fishermen sell fish directly, process the fish, put it in cans or something, sell it as sardines instead of selling the fish in tons without getting them processed. That's my opinion. So, does that make sense?
Does that answer your question, Mr. Kade? Oh, okay. All right, I think it's gonna be all of the question for our Q&A session today. Thank you so much, Mr. Oscar, for answering all of this question and for giving us such a clear and thoughtful explanations.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure for me to meet everybody. So, again, thank you very much. I hope to see you next time. Did you take picture?
Yes, before we take a photo, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation to Mr. Oscar for his time and contribution. And let's take a photo together to capture this special moment of appreciation. Documentation team, please go ahead. Okay, wait a second.
I'm gonna count from 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's taken. And now it's time for the group photo session. For all participants, please kindly turn on your camera and make sure you're using the official background that has been provided. In this group photo session, we will be making two types of photo. The first one is an E pose. So all of you put up your hand and form the letter E with your hands, just like this. And the second one is a casual photo. So let's go ahead and start taking pictures with the first pose. Documentation team, are you ready yet? Okay, 1 second everyone, please hold. All right, we're gonna take pictures. So everyone just hold this pose because there's a lot of slides. Okay, from 3, 2, 1. Okay, hold it, everyone, hold it. We're gonna move to the second page. Okay, we're gonna move to the next page. Documentation team, is it done? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, again, documentation team. Okay, so everyone, we're gonna go ahead with the second post. Just you guys can do whichever post you like. And documentation team, in 3, 2, 1.
Whichever post.
Any post, any
Kan gini
post.
aja kan?
3.
Masak.
Oh. 3, 2, 1. Okay, everything good? Documentation team? Okay.
And once again, let's sincerely thank to Mr. Oscar Zaky for sharing his knowledge and inspiration with us today. Mr. Oscar, we truly appreciate the time and dedication you have given.
Thank you very much.
And as you understand,
it's a pleasure for me to be here and hope my presentation brings benefit to everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Oscar. As we understand, we know you have other activities, and we respectfully allow you to continue with your day, and feel free to leave the Zoom meeting. Thank you very much,
Thank
and we
you.
hope to see you
It's actually
at our
almost
next
midnight here at 11 p.m.
Have a good rest.
All right.
Pak Oscar, have a
Have
good
a good
Thank
rest,
you.
Mr. Oscar.
Good morning. Take care. Assalamualaikum. Let me see where is it.
All right, so everyone, before we close, a quick reminder for all participants. Please don't forget to complete your attendance and feedback form. Here's how you can do it. For UC Online students, first open up your CEDX student application or in the website, and then you need to fill out the survey. For non-UC Online students, or for anyone having problem with the survey, a Google Form link will be provided for you to fill out in the Zoom chat. Please remember, completing the survey is mandatory in order for your attendance to be counted. So don't miss this step. And all right, so it has been sent already in the chat room. So for everyone, especially for non-UCO students or for anyone that has problems with their survey, you can go ahead and fill out the form in the chat room.
So finally, we have now reached at the end of today's agenda. On behalf of Universitas Ciputra Online, I would like to thank to our speaker, all participants, and the organizers for making this event a success.
We hope today's session has inspired you and given you meaningful insights. This concludes our global talk show. Stay safe, stay inspired, and see you at our next event. Thank you and goodbye.
Seiring perkembangan dunia bisnis yang pesat, timbullah berbagai tantangan baru yang dinamis. Karena itu, meningkatkan pengetahuan dan keterampilan serta kreativitas berinovasi adalah kunci agar dapat bersaing di era digital.
Untuk itulah, sebagai kampus terakreditasi unggul, Universitas Ciputra memberikan peluang emas bagi Anda para entrepreneur, profesional, karyawan, maupun lulusan SMA, SMK yang sudah bekerja dengan menghadirkan Universitas Ciputra Online atau UC Online. Program perkuliahan online bergelar di UC Online, didesain secara efektif untuk mengembangkan karir dan bisnis Anda. Dengan perpaduan mata kuliah keilmuan dan entrepreneurial mindset, Anda akan dibimbing secara intensif oleh dosen dan praktisi berpengalaman untuk menerapkan strategi yang inovatif dan relevan dengan industri Anda.
UC Online menghadirkan 3 program perkuliahan online bergelar, yaitu S1 Manajemen, S1 Informatika, dan S2 Manajemen. Seluruh program dirancang dengan struktur kurikulum berstandar nasional dengan masa studi 8 semester untuk program S1 dan 4 semester untuk program S2. UC Online juga menghadirkan program Corporate Class, yaitu program perkuliahan yang dirancang secara khusus untuk sebuah instansi atau perusahaan, di mana instansi atau perusahaan dapat mengirimkan karyawan pilihannya untuk mengikuti studi lanjut, serta mendapatkan materi perkuliahan yang disusun secara spesifik sesuai dengan studi kasus yang dihadapi. Program ini diharapkan dapat meningkatkan produktivitas dan kinerja instansi dan perusahaannya.
Sekaranglah waktunya. Bergabunglah di UC Online. Raihlah masa depan yang sukses dengan keahlian dan ilmu pengetahuan. Creating world-class professionals and entrepreneurs.
Saat ini dunia bisnis bergerak sangat cepat. Kita harus terus memperluas ilmu pengetahuan, skill, dan networking. Oleh karena itu, UC Online menghadirkan program kuliah online S1 Manajemen yang menjadi solusi untuk Anda, para profesional dan entrepreneur. Dengan fleksibilitas jadwal perkuliahan yang dapat diakses kapanpun dimanapun, Anda akan dimentori oleh dosen dan pakar di bidang pemasaran, operasional, keuangan, dan bisnis digital. Program ini akan membuat mindset entrepreneurial Anda semakin terasah, networking Anda semakin luas, dan kapasitas karir Anda akan meningkat.
Selama kuliah di UC Online, saya sangat menikmati konsep flexible learning yang diterapkan. Kurikulum yang dirancang dengan baik dan dapat diakses online kapanpun dan dimanapun memberikan fleksibilitas yang sangat membantu, terutama dengan jadwal mengajar saya yang padat sebagai seorang guru bahasa Mandarin. Di sela-sela luang saya mengajar, saya dapat menyempatkan diri untuk belajar materi perkuliahan melalui platform e-learn. Saya yakin bahwa ilmu manajemen dan entrepreneurial mindset yang saya peroleh di manajemen UC Online akan sangat aplikatif bagi perkembangan karir dan pribadi saya. 来吧，加入 UC Online 和我们一起学习。
Sebagai seorang content creator dan influencer, saya menikmati perkuliahan S1 Manajemen di UC Online yang mengasah kreativitas dan pola pikir bisnis saya. Ilmu-ilmu manajemen yang diajarkan sangat membantu pekerjaan saya memiliki arah dan sistem yang profesional. Tidak hanya itu, saya juga bertemu dengan berbagai profil pengusaha dan profesional yang tergabung di dalam kelas UC Online. Selain mendapat ilmu akademis, saya juga mendapatkan beragam bisnis insight dan sharing-sharing praktisi yang berguna untuk perjalanan karir saya.
Mari, ambil peluang ini dan raih mimpi masa depan Anda. Bergabunglah sekarang di UC Online.
Bagi Anda yang ingin bekerja sebagai web and mobile apps developer, network analis, data analis, dan digital entrepreneur, atau Anda yang ingin meningkatkan keterampilan baru di bidang tersebut, UC Online menghadirkan program S1 Informatika yang akan memperlengkapi Anda dengan berbagai ilmu pengetahuan seperti algoritma, pemrograman web, pemrograman mobile, database, jaringan komputer, keamanan jaringan, science data, kecerdasan buatan, dan masih banyak mata kuliah pendukung lainnya. Nikmati kemudahan kuliah online dengan waktu yang sangat fleksibel. Permasalahan yang dikaitkan dengan aktivitas pekerjaan kita sehari-hari. Dan yang pasti, kita bisa kuliah sambil tetap bekerja.
Hal yang saya suka saat berkuliah di UC Online adalah kita didorong untuk melihat problem sehari-hari yang terjadi. Kemudian membuat rumusan bagaimana kita menyelesaikan permasalahan tersebut. Hal ini menurut saya penting saat diterapkan di dalam dunia bisnis, karena insting kita untuk menyelesaikan sebuah problem sudah diasah sejak berkuliah. Berkuliah di UC Online membentuk saya menjadi seorang pebisnis yang kompeten. Didukung dengan ilmu IT yang terkini, kombinasi antara keilmuan dan pengalaman praktik bisnis menjadi paket lengkap yang saya dapatkan di Informatika UC Online.
Materi-materi yang diajarkan di S1 Informatika UC Online sangat mendalam dan terkini, membawa saya lebih jauh dalam memahami dunia web development dan AI. Keunggulan kurikulum ini memberikan saya kesempatan untuk belajar dari para ahli di bidangnya, mengasah keterampilan teknis, dan merancang solusi inovatif. Saya dipersiapkan dengan baik untuk menghadapi tantangan industri yang terus berkembang.
Sekarang adalah waktunya Anda. Raihlah mimpi Anda menjadi digital entrepreneur yang handal. Bersama dengan partner-partner kerjasama UC, peluang karir dan masa depan cerah telah menanti Anda. Daftarkan diri Anda sekarang juga.
Bagi Anda yang ingin meningkatkan kompetensi, terutama di bidang bisnis consultant, chief marketing officer, intrapreneur maupun entrepreneur, sekarang UC Online menghadirkan program S2 Manajemen dengan sistem pembelajaran full online yang tentunya akan sangat memudahkan Anda untuk mengemban pendidikan di tengah kesibukan Anda. Terdapat 2 peminatan di S2 Manajemen, yaitu Strategic Marketing Management dan Strategic Service Management. Pada Strategic Marketing Management, pembelajarannya akan berfokus pada penciptaan strategi pemasaran yang disesuaikan dengan perilaku konsumen. Sedangkan pada Strategic Service Management, pembelajarannya akan berfokus pada penciptaan layanan yang prima dalam sebuah institusi sampai dengan bagaimana sebaiknya melakukan revitalisasi layanan dalam sebuah organisasi.
Waktu perkuliahan UC Online yang fleksibel merupakan solusi bagi saya yang memiliki jadwal yang padat namun ingin tetap menimba ilmu di perkuliahan. Metode belajar mandiri, mentoring yang intensif, dan tatap muka online yang dapat di-playback memungkinkan saya untuk belajar di mana saja dan kapan saja. Kualitas dosen di UC Online tentu saja sudah tidak diragukan. Pembelajaran di Magister Manajemen UC Online semakin mempertajam kemampuan dan pemahaman saya terhadap proses bisnis untuk menghadapi tantangan ke depan. Dengan studi kasus dan mentoring dari praktisi, membuat pembelajaran lebih aplikatif dan tidak sekedar teori.
Berkuliah Magister Manajemen di UC Online adalah pilihan yang tepat bagi saya seorang wanita karir dan ibu rumah tangga yang mengurus keluarga. Jadwal perkuliahan online yang fleksibel memudahkan saya mengatur aktivitas sehari-hari dengan seimbang. Metode belajar bisa dilakukan secara mandiri dan juga secara online bersama-sama. Materi praktik bisnis yang diberikan sangat aplikatif karena tidak hanya mengajarkan teori saja, tapi langsung dapat dieksekusi dalam pekerjaan kita.
Masa depan Anda ditentukan dari sekarang. Manfaatkan kesempatan ini untuk mengupgrade diri menjadi pribadi yang lebih baik. Ayo join S2 Manajemen UC Online dan raih manfaatnya. Daftarkan diri Anda sekarang.